My dad is my biggest support, and now that he's about to get out of the hospital and begin recovering from his fourth open heart surgery, I need to help him this time. I came so close to losing him, and because of that, I want to cherish every moment I have left with him.
When the parole officer spoke with your father, because he had previously agreed this year to sponsor you before your hearing back in May, and he talked to him again, and he said he has not spoken with you in years, and due to his medical issues, he's not able to sponsor you. So there's something not adding up in that situation.
Was someone caught in a lie? And you may have noticed that a few things have changed from those two clips, and that's because they're two separate parole hearings. One took place on May 17, 2024, and the next one takes place November 15th, 2024. So we're going to take a step back and watch the May parole hearing, and then it's going to go right in to the November one. I like to ask to see if you can keep track of how many other lies she might drop in this parole hearing, and let's see how the parole board handles it. Anyways, thank you, Sir Richard, for making it possible to connect the dots on these parole hearings. With that, let's jump in.
My inmate number is 373829.
Thank you. The hearing is being conducted in consideration of the parole application for Jordan Matsdorf, inmate number 373829. She's serving a sentence of 30 months for failure to appear first, violation of protective order, and assault third. As of today, we're able to reflect the parole eligibility date of March 10th, 2024. There is no victim input in the case. There is a defender accountability plan that has been reviewed and shows that she's currently in Tier 4 and anger management. Utilizing the one interesting assessment board, the defender's overall score for recidivating falls within the moderate range. Ms. Matsdorf, this is your opportunity to tell the board why you believe you should be granted parole. You may begin.
Okay. I think I should be granted for parole because I have learned from my mistakes and I have learned to take accountability for my actions, more specifically the ones that have put me in here. It took some time, but I've come to the understanding that I cannot control my actions well when I'm using, and I end up hurting the ones I love, whether I want to or not. No matter what someone may or may not have done to me, in the end, I was the one who made the decision to do what I did. If I could go back, I would have handled this situation differently, but it took coming to jail to learn how to deal with my anger. Being in here has taught me many things, one of them being how to handle situations without it escalating out of control. I'm honestly grateful that I did come here. I needed to get clean and get myself back on track. So now when I leave, I'll be able to lead a happy, healthy, and successful life. After being here for a year, I can now say that I'm really ready to go home. I want to show my family how far I've come and that I can be the person that they're proud of again. My dad is my biggest support, and now that he's about to get out of the hospital and begin recovering from his fourth open heart surgery, I need to help him this time. I came so close to losing him, and because of that, I want to cherish every moment I have left with him. I know I am now in a place where my family can depend on me, and I won't let them down. My mom as well. She's gotten very sick since I've come in, and she needs me now more than ever. And my cat needs his mom too. Like my parents, he doesn't have many years left either, so I want to show them how much they all mean to me while I still can. I'll never take for granted having my loved ones again. Being in here has shown me just how fast life can change.
Thank you. And thank you for writing out your statement for us and sharing with us some of the information that you've shared. What's going to happen now is that we're going to ask you some questions. And when we're done, we're going to discuss your case and we'll give you our decisions after we discuss your case. Okay?
Okay.
And I'm going to be starting out the little bit of questioning, right? Because you've answered some of my questions. But so this is a situation where drugs played a big role in all of this, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So you have. When was the last time you had treatment in the community?
I've actually never been to treatment in the community. I've been pretty much. I don't want to say what's the word. I've been able to hold a job and do everything in my life, while I had an
You were a
addiction.
functional addict?
Yes, yeah, that's what I was trying to, yeah, the word. Yeah, so I've never been to treatment. I got clean actually a few years ago on my own. You know, I just woke up one day and I made that decision and I went to get Suboxone from a doctor. And there are stipulations where I just had to go to a group once a month, and that was the only type of treatment that I did.
And did you stay clean after that?
Yeah, for a few years I did. I didn't relapse until I moved to Middletown to stay clean, and I got into a really bad car accident out there. And at the time when I was living in Middletown, I still had my job in New London, so I was having to commute back and forth. So when the car accident happened, I wasn't able to get to my job at all. So I had to move back home, and being back home around the same people in the same situations is when I relapsed.
So you relapsed after that bit of treatment that you did, or that after that bit of, when you went to, were you on Suboxone? Is that what you said?
Yes.
But you did relapse after that. So you didn't have other things in place at that particular point in time.
No.
Okay. So are you currently in tier 4?
Yes.
You're currently participating in tier 4 now. You haven't finished it.
Yeah, I just
And-
started it 3 weeks ago.
Oh, you just started 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, I've been writing the entire time that I've been in here to try to get into these programs sooner so that they would be done by the time I did this hearing, I would hope, but they just started me on it.
Yeah, and your anger management?
I should be done with it on Friday, next Friday.
Right. So just tell me what happened, because this was a family situation, right? What happened with this that it got to this point?
Basically, are you talking about the incident, the arrest, or just the whole situation?
Yeah, the situation.
Basically, my brother and we both lived in my dad's house, and him and we had a good relationship for a while, but he is very violent. And when I'm using, when we're both using, we have a tendency to have outbursts in situations where him and I get really physical with each other. And it's led me to act out, unfortunately, and become aggressive with him. And that's pretty much the situation that happened. It kind of like spiraled out of control after that. After the assault charge with my brother, I was homeless, and the violation of protective order, he had called me, and I wasn't aware that I couldn't be at the house. I just knew that I had a protective order with him. So I knew that I had to stay away from him.
Oh, you knew you had a protective order.
Yes, but they didn't like explain it to me to where they said I couldn't go to the house. He just said not to be near him. So I went back to my dad's house one day because my brother had told me that he was going to hurt my cats that I still had living in the house. And so I, of course, went to the house to make sure that they were okay. And meanwhile, my brother was apparently across the street waiting for me to go to the house to call the cops and say that I was there.
So he said,
But
so
I think-
you feel he set you up.
Yeah, because he wasn't even in the house. I wasn't purposely violating the protective order. I was simply trying to make sure that my animals were okay.
That's some of the issue I have with some of the discussion in this, that it feels like you're not taking like really full responsibility in this. And you want to respond to that?
I mean, yes, I think I have taken responsibility for it. I know that what I did was wrong, and I wish I could take it back. I don't want to say that drugs were responsible, but they definitely had a big impact on it. They made me really violent, and I didn't think before I acted. And no matter what he did, what I did wasn't right. And I wish that I could take back what I did. But the only thing I can do now is to try to make better decisions in the future and to handle things more accordingly and use my words more and not physical actions.
So how are you going to do that? Make things different in the future?
what I've learned in here to try to take steps to like have better relationships outside, and the meetings that I've been going to have been helping. And they basically just say, you know, I haven't been in them for very long, but to just realize that what you did was wrong. You know, it's nobody else's fault but my own. And as long as like I feel like if I stay in the meetings that I've been going to, I know that I have a lot more left to learn in them. But I think so far, I know that I have to listen before I act. You know, instead of just having somebody say something like a couple words and then acting out, or like counting has helped a lot with my anger. Anger management has helped me a lot in here because I had a tendency to spiral out of control, and anybody that was around me kind of got hurt at the same time.
Whether you were high or not?
Right, yeah, yeah.
It
When I
wasn't
was
just doing drugs that instigated your anger or that would set
Yeah.
off your anger. Okay.
Yeah, when I was younger, I was diagnosed with bipolar, and I had manic episodes. So a very small
Let's be
thing.
careful what you say in terms of your mental health. We're on live video, and lots of people are watching. Okay, so we want to protect your.
Okay, yeah,
Okay.
I'm okay with that. I was medicated when I was younger, but it made it so that I had no feelings whatsoever. But I've had to learn to deal with my anger and the manic episodes. And I've learned to have coping mechanisms to be able to
Right.
deal with those episodes.
Can
Because
you
I
share
don't-
those? Can you share those with us? What those coping
yeah.
mechanisms are that you learned?
Counting is one of them, like counting backwards in like sets of like 7, because it's something that you're going to focus on the numbers instead of the situation, or like touching your fingertips to each other, just something to take your mind out of what's going on and to kind of like lower your heart rate. Even breathing can help too, focusing on your breathing.
Okay. And were there additional skills that you learned that you're going to be able to utilize when you're on the outside besides those particular techniques? And yeah, go ahead.
I'm confused.
Any additional skills you learned besides the techniques you just showed me talking about?
Just having like healthy hobbies, like reading or crocheting, like knitting. I wanted to learn crocheting while I was in here. I learned to make bracelets. Reading, I read a lot, and like focuses my mind on what's in front of me again, instead of, you know, listening, because in here there's a lot of things going on and a lot of drama.
Yeah.
So I always just put headphones in or earplugs. I have earplugs in a lot and I read. So I kind of just immerse myself in the book.
That's a good thing. That's a good thing. So have you had an opportunity? Can you share an example of utilizing the skills that you learned since you've been there? Since you've taken the anger management?
Yeah, actually this happened last night. This girl that sleeps on the bunk next to me had an issue with me, and she kind of I'm really not a difficult person to get along with, and here nobody really has an issue with me. So everybody was pretty surprised that I had shrugged my shoulders, and she took that as an insult for some reason. And instead of me lashing out at her and yelling back at her, like, you know, why would you take that as an insult, or me being rude to her, I took myself out of the situation for a little while and sat and collected my thoughts, and then I came back and I apologized to her, and I said, you know, I'm sorry that you misconstrued my actions, but they weren't meant to be hostile or in any way aggressive towards you, you know, and I'm sorry for that. So instead of me yelling at her and getting on her level, I apologized to her to try to be the better person of the situation.
Thank you for sharing that example with me. I appreciate that. And then, you haven't got any DR since you've been there, which is a very good sign, and that's very good. We always look at that. That's
Yes.
something for us to always consider. What have you given thought? So you just started your tier 4, right?
Yes.
Yeah. What's your end date?
It's a 6-month program. Well, it could be longer because there's a lot of codes in here. So sometimes the classes are canceled. So it could be longer. That's why I wanted to try to get into this a year ago. But they told me that these things weren't mandatory on my OAP.
Yeah, but
And
you're
that's
there
it.
now. You're there
Yeah.
now, and that's a good thing. And
Yeah,
you want to utilize it as much as you possibly can.
yes, yeah,
So I guess you'll be working on a relapse prevention plan
yes.
while you're there, but have you given some thought to that prior to
Um,
being there?
I mean, as far as relapse, I think where I went wrong last time is going back to the same situation and to the same house with the same people. And this time, my dad has been a big support of me staying clean. He's the one that helped me the first time. And I think, I know that he's gonna make sure that I have a safe place to stay and that there aren't gonna be the same people around me. And I wanna make sure that I wanna get a job in a different town so that I'm not around the same people. I don't wanna be reminded of anything like I was last time. As long as I start fresh, I know that I have a much better chance of staying clean.
And have you given thought to what your employment situation is going to be if and when you do get released?
Yes, before I was in here, I was a DoorDash driver. I know it's not a like steady job, but it is something until I can find a more permanent job. I worked for Burke Manufacturing, it's actually down the street at one point in time, and I really liked that job. But I need to make sure that they will hire somebody with my record. I know that they do hire people with convictions, so I just need to double check on that. But when I get out, I'll do the door dashing again until I can see if Burke will hire me back permanently.
But we'll definitely try to work on as much of your reentry plan as possible before you come out to get a lot of those things set up. So you're not finding yourself, in a situation where things just aren't stable for you.
Well, the DoorDash I can start immediately, and I can do that anywhere up to full time. It's
Yeah.
basically as often as I want to.
Okay, I don't have any additional questions at this particular moment. I'm going to pass it on to my colleague, panel member Turner.
So your license is suspended.
Yes, yeah, you can do it with. You don't have to be the driver of the car. You can actually do it on a bicycle if need be.
Okay.
Yeah, but I would have somebody else driving me. I plan to get my license reinstated when I get out of here as well.
Okay, well, don't drive until it is, because you already have had 3 arrests for driving on a suspended license and without insurance.
Right.
And, you gotta play by the rules.
Yes, of course.
Okay, so where is your brother living now?
I understand, I don't know, he's homeless. My mom hasn't been able to find him for quite a
So
while.
is your father in the house that you're gonna sponsor to your father? Is he in the house that you went to check on your cats?
Yeah, that's where my dad is right now, but actually my dad's in the hospital right now.
Okay, but
No,
that's
he's
his
not-
home that you're gonna sponsor to.
I'm not gonna be able to actually sponsor there. I have a different one because he has to go to a rehabilitation place after the hospital because he has such a big surgery that he's not gonna be up to, coming to even greet somebody to do the house check or anything like that. So I know it's just gonna be easier if I go somewhere else.
And,
But I have
and
to-
you
I have
have a
to-
second sponsor or?
Yeah,
you
yeah, I have all
a
that.
halfway house?
No, I have all the information with me.
Okay, but that's new information for us and should be provided to Officer Bosford.
Yes, yeah, I wasn't, last time I talked to him, my dad hadn't gone to the surgery yet. We didn't know it wasn't scheduled, so I had no idea that he was not gonna be available.
So how do you think Tier 4 is going so far?
I like it so far. I mean, it's very extensive as far as the programming. Coming from the west side, it's a big change, but it's what I wanted to do since I got here. I wanted to do the classes. I wanted to do things that were going to make me a better person and to help me in my recovery.
Okay. So as you told my colleague, you've never done treatment out in the community. You told Officer Bosford that you don't feel you need substance abuse or mental health treatment and reported that you don't do well with treatment.
Yeah, I mean,
Thought about
it's not that I don't do well with treatment, it's just that everybody works differently. Like for me, being around a group of people, I have a lot of anxiety towards that. So one-on-one is more appropriate for me. So it's not that I don't do well with the groups, it's just that I do better with one-on-one if possible.
Okay, but you're coping in a group setting in
Yeah.
Maryland Baker.
Yes,
Okay.
yeah.
All right. It just, given your risk scores and your history with, dual diagnosis, to have you say to Officer Bosford, that you don't need and don't do well with treatment really jumped out at me, jumped off the page at me. So
I might have
thank you.
said that wrong, yeah.
All right, I have no other questions. Thank you.
I have no questions. I can, you did a good job asking what we needed to know right now. I mean, for me, the primary focus is for Ms. Badruff to finish.
That's,
So I don't have any questions.
that's where I was going. That's where I was going as well. Really feel she needs to finish that tier 4 program. I thought that she did a good job explaining her anger management, participation, and did a nice job even giving us an example of having utilized the skill that she utilized and for the recent event that went on. I'm not ready to release today, or could we release contingent upon completion? I want her to complete.
I feel like it's too far out to do a contingent.
Okay,
we
so
should
good denial.
You know,
Yeah,
talk to her about, she needs a release plan.
yeah, yeah. So what would be a good time period? Probably it's 6 months to a year.
Well, and it finishes tier 4 at the end of October. And she said, you know, it could be extended for,
Right.
you know, so
Would December be?
early December,
I didn't want to skin it too close.
right, like she could do after here. Mhm.
So I thought actually if we heard of November,
That give her 5 months.
No, you're right.
at least give her a little bit of support if she's granted.
And by then, even if she hasn't finished tier 4, it'll be a matter of a couple of classes or days.
Agreed, yes.
So inadequate evidence of offender change.
No, Or that.
She's still in treatment. She's still in. Right, she's still in taking the course. She's still.
right, but we're hearing the change in
Oh,
her
inadequate
already.
institutional program participation.
Completion.
Completion.
And I think release plan would be helpful because I'm not clear on where she's going to end up
Inadequate.
sponsoring to and
Yes.
getting services for all of her needs.
Only those two?
And no DR.
And no DRs. Okay, so in the case of Jordan Metzdorf, inmate number 373-829, there's a motion to deny discretionary parole for the following reasons: inadequate institutional program completion and inadequate release plan. And added to that would be to rehear the case in November of 2024. Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Okay, so Ms. Metzdorf, you seem to be moving in a positive direction, doing some really good things. We'd like to see you complete that program. We've denied you discretionary parole today. And we'll rehear the case sometime in November
Okay.
With no DR.
with no DRs.
Finishing tier 4, their positive programming.
Finishing tier 4 and other positive programming.
So what do you mean by other positive programming?
Any other positive program you can take besides tier 4?
You haven't taken voices, that's
Yeah.
on your OAP.
Okay.
Yeah. All right.
You know,
Okay,
if they offer any other programs or their support groups you can join.
Yeah, we do 3 meetings a week there. Would that qualify? Because I can't control when I get into voices.
You know that.
Yeah, we know. But whatever additional positive program you can take, what we would be expecting.
Yeah, no, we understand that. And and think about where you want to release to. You know, you said your dad's house is not a good place right now.
Yeah, I have the other
Maybe you'll have
address.
something different.
Right.
You can always go to a halfway house.
Yeah, that's not an option for me.
Okay.
But you gotta have a sponsor.
Yeah, I have one, yeah.
Okay, one moment. Do you have what you need to put in the dispo in terms of
Yep.
recommendations?
Yeah, so release plan, other positive programs, complete tier 4.
And no DR. Do I have a second? We didn't want to, do we vote on this already?
We did.
Okay.
Yeah, it just
the
motion
mechanics.
didn't include the
Okay,
recommendation.
okay, so we're done.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Good luck to you.
Thank you.
For Jordan Maxwell, case number 373829.
Okay, so now we're going to fast forward to November 15, 2024. So again, this hearing took place on May 17th. Now it's November 15th. She had to complete some programs. She had to not get any write-ups. Let's see what they're going to uncover and if she'll actually get parole this time. You know, it's interesting. I'm not quite sure what's going on here, but it seems that her brother has a restraining order against her, but somehow she's the bad guy. And then he said he was going to hurt her cats, so she went to the house to get her cats, but he set her up on purpose, and I'm sure that's exactly how it went down. Something else I picked up when he said, "What did you learn? What did you learn from your program about controlling your anger?" And she says, "Well, there was a situation. You know, everyone likes me. Everyone likes me in the dorm. Everyone likes me, but there was a situation where I shrugged my shoulders, and then I went back. I thought about it, and I came back, and I said, I'm sorry that you misconstrued the situation." Or, and it's like, no. That's not good to come to someone and say, "I'm sorry that you thought," you know, the best way to say things, and you learn this in couples therapy, is, "I am sorry that what I did made you feel this way." Not, you know, okay, all right, it's baby steps. But there is the article Sir Richard found that August 10, 2022, woman arrested at East Lynn Mall on narcotics charges. She was picked up on 11 outstanding arrest warrants. Okay, 11. And they found her with Fetty. Oh, and I almost forgot the DoorDash. That was classic. It was funny. Oh, I'm going to do DoorDash. And then she's like, you know, you don't have a license. You're driving on a suspended license and all these things. And she goes, "Oh, no. Someone else drives. I'm a passenger." It's like, oh my God, you saw how quickly. See, for me, that was the incredible part. How quickly, without skipping a beat, how she transitioned into a full-blown lie. And that, you know, when you know someone is lying, you're not teaming up with someone. There's no money in DoorDash to team up with someone. Are you kidding me? And you know, if you just wanted to see, she is a what's it called? A seasoned liar. She's good at it, and it's definitely not a good look. But anyways, let's jump into this and hearing enough of me jabbering. If you do like that I connect the dots on these hearings, make sure to subscribe, hit the notification bell. Sir Richard makes this possible with his magical spreadsheet. So we'll keep bringing you updates on parolees. We're the only channel on YouTube that does that. So support it if you like it. With that, let's jump in.
Ms. Matsdorf, this is your opportunity to tell the board why you believe you should be granted parole. You may begin.
I think that I should be granted for parole because I've learned my lesson. I've learned that my anger is not a way to solve problems, and that I learned coping skills while I've been in here, and I've learned that me and drugs do not mix well. It always leads to problems no matter what I do, and I'm a better person when I'm clean, especially around my family. And that I will never go back to drugs again because I know it leads to anger problems and violent outbursts. I think that I can be a positive member of the community when I go home now.
Great. All right. Thank you, Ms. Matsdorf. I was on your prior panel. Good to see that you've made some progress during this period of incarceration. You know how this process works, so we'll begin with Ms. Chance.
Chancellor, you were asked at the last hearing to do two things. You were asked to complete the Tier 4 program and develop a positive relapse prevention plan. Have you done both?
I complete the program and I have 4 more classes left, and there's nothing I can do about that. It's just with
When do you finish the class?
my teacher said the middle of next month, I think, but because of like lockdowns and things, that could change. But as of Wednesday, she said that we have 4 more classes left, and we have 2 classes a week. but because she's absent this month a lot of Wednesdays because we have class Monday and Wednesday. So that's why I think she said the middle of next month, because we technically only have 2 more weeks left of classes. And when I go home, my job, I didn't have a job lined up.
Before you do the relapse, can you tell me what skills in your opening comments you said you've learned coping skills and not to use drugs? So tell me, what are those coping skills that you've learned?
Keeping busy, basically. I like to read a lot, and that helps my mind to stop thinking about drugs. If I am, I can focus on what I'm reading. So I do that a lot in here. And taking walks and working is going to be a big thing. And even like breathing exercises and phoning a friend, things like that.
So are you able to identify your triggers and your urges and how you
Yeah.
deal with them?
Yeah.
So can you tell me what your triggers
One of my triggers is like seeing people that I used to use with and talking about it. So I'm gonna make sure that when I go home that I'm not around any of the people that I used to be around. It's gonna be helpful to not be in the same community too. I wanna start over somewhere new so that I don't see a lot of the same things that I did before. And also, getting angry has been a trigger for me, especially, well, it's mainly when I'm using, it triggers my anger. So I think just by not using, I'll be okay to not get angry a lot.
What happens when you get angry?
I tend to just see red and I get really violent and I don't think about what I'm doing before I act. It takes a lot to get me angry, but I realized that the drugs were like 95% of the problem.
What would you do if you get an urge?
Either read or go for a walk or go to a meeting. Or I like to make bracelets too, so I can do that too. Like crocheting.
Have you crocheted so far?
Oh, I make bracelets. It's kind of like crocheting, but I don't know how to use like the needles or the whatever they're called. But I make bracelets.
Okay, sounds good. Tell me about your relapse prevention plan.
I'm gonna make sure that I go to, I've been looking into going to a sober house, so there I would have to go to 5 meetings a week anyway. So I want to make sure that I go to as many meetings as possible and start to have friends that are sober. I haven't had a lot of friends in the past, and I've met a few people in here that are gonna be out and be sober as well. So we're gonna do things like go to the beach and like bike riding, hiking, things like that.
So have you thought about a sponsor? Have you done the 12-step? You've done
Um,
any of that?
Not yet. I don't know how to do that really from in here. I think when I go into the community, I can find a sponsor at the meetings at AA and NA. They said that you find sponsors there.
Yeah. And during the tier 4, they don't discuss 12-step as part of.
No, ma'am, because we have like AA, NA, we have multiple groups that you can go to. So because you can't primarily go to one, I think that's why we don't do the 12 steps and that. I think you'd probably do that in the community if you went specifically to like AA or NA.
So you don't go to those meetings at the facility?
We do, but they don't discuss the 12 steps in it.
So tell me what you discuss when you go there.
In WFS, there's like readings that we have in a book, and we talk about like our past lives and how we've come to be where we are, what made us decide that we wanted to stop, what helps us keep focused, what we're gonna do when we go home. And some of us have, are spiritual, like we believe in God, some of us don't. So we try to find like a mid-ground to see how we can all like be in the same group, but not, I guess have a common ground. That's what I'm trying to say.
I mean, like you can be in a group and some of you have a difference of opinion, but you can still work together.
Yeah, yeah.
So where do you want to go? You said you originally had indicated your parents.
Yep. My dad, since I've been in here, he had an open heart surgery a few months ago. So because of that, he's now in a wheelchair and he doesn't want somebody at his house right now because he could have to go back into rehab because he can't use his legs right now. And I guess his in-home help isn't helping him to the extent that he needs to. So he doesn't want me there in the event that he needs to go back into rehab. But there's a sober house in New London called Recovery 12. That's run by a woman named Inez Richards. And I want to try to go there, but she's on vacation
Where
right
is
now.
that? In New London, you said?
It's in New London, yeah.
And how would you pay for that?
My family is gonna pay for if there's a deposit. Some of them don't charge a deposit, but if there is one, my family's gonna pay for it. And then I can apply for basic needs through her, but I guess my insurance can also pay for it too, Husky. But she's on vacation right now, so my family is unable to talk to her specifically. She should get back within the next week or so.
It's, did they change up, the contents of, tier 4?
I'm sorry?
Did they change the contents of tier 4? I'm just surprised that, you're not addressing the 12 step there.
I think in all of the tier 4 that I've done so far, I don't even think we've spoken on it. We have an AA, but that's another part of the program, like that's after the classes.
Okay. How are you feeling today? How do you feel about where you are now? And having been in the tier 4, it's almost at the end. Talking about what you're going to do when you go back out in the community.
I was hesitant to go into the program at first. I didn't want to go, but now that I'm there, I'm really glad that I am. It's kind of like a huge family. And it's not like being in the other part of jail where women aren't like looking out for each other's best interest. It really is like a big family. Like we all care about each other. We all help each other when needed. Even the counselors are there. They come by to check on us, make sure we're doing okay. And same with the counselor supervisor, Ms. Tamachi. She makes sure that she knows each one of us personally, and she comes to us if there's any problems. And we can always go to the other girls in the program if we need anything, if we just want somebody to talk to. Like when somebody goes home or even gets approved for parole, the whole building applauds them and everything. And they make cakes and they have dinners and everything. They're really looking out for everybody's best interest. It's really nice to see. So it makes me very hopeful to know that when I go home that I've gotten this experience because I can go home and like be a more positive person. I wasn't much of a positive person before I came here, but I learned the importance of having female friends around.
What are you gonna do for a job?
As long as my dad doesn't go back into rehab, I don't think he's going to for a little while. I want to be his in-home aide because he does need somebody there all the time because he can't get to the top level or even the basement to do his laundry. Right now, my aunt is helping him every couple of weeks to do his laundry and whatnot, but he needs somebody there like to do everything for him. And I can also do DoorDash as soon as I leave here.
You're
I
not
already have
gonna
the account
live
to
with
do
your
that
father,
on the
but you're
side,
gonna do
but
go there
primarily
to
I want
take care
to
of
be my
him.
dad's in-home aide.
Repeat that answer, please.
My dad needs an in-home aide because who he has come to the house isn't there all the time. And the sober house is close enough to my dad's to where I could even walk there if I needed to. But he needs somebody there to cook for him, to clean, to do the laundry because he can't get anywhere really. And it's a multi-story house. So he's stuck basically on the main level. He can't go outside to do yard work. He can't go in the garage to do anything. So he needs somebody that he trusts, that's familiar with the house, knows what he needs, and
But he didn't want you living there?
he only said that because he might need to go back to rehab. But as long as he doesn't, then I should be okay. He just doesn't want to have me live there and then I need to move, which could be a problem for parole. So he just said that to be safe.
Does he own the home?
Yes.
That's a little bit odd. I don't understand that part of it. Are you gonna get paid?
Yeah, it's through his insurance company.
Okay, so your title will be that of, is that a CNA or,
I think the title is in-home aid. I know that I contact his insurance company and I would be paid through them. I would be employed through them. And they already know my charges, so they're okay with that. I would still be able to do it with that.
and that will still give you time to go to your meetings and do what it is that you have to do.
Yes, yep. At the sober house, they need you to, for some reason, be gone from like 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. all day. So I would do the meetings whenever they are. And when you have a job, you only have to do 2 a week instead of like 5. So I would do the meetings in the morning or at night, whichever, and then I would be with my dad the rest of the day whenever he needed me. And I think they also do groups too at the sober house. If you're not working, you do 5 meetings and 5 groups. But if you are working, you do 2 and 2 and 2, I think.
Okay, well, thank you for answering my question. Thank you.
You identified a potential sponsor, Mr. Morello. Who is
Yeah,
that?
it's one of my friends and my mom's friends. I went to grade school and all through school with his son, so I know him very well. But I guess his son is having a baby, so they need the extra room. I didn't know about this until just recently. Otherwise, I would have had a sober house to go to all set. So I just found out that my addresses fell through recently, like a couple weeks ago.
When the parole officer spoke with your father, because he had previously agreed this year to sponsor you before your hearing back in May, and he talked to him again and he said he has not spoken with you in years, and due to his medical issues, he's not able to sponsor you.
No parole for Tate.
So there's something not adding up in that situation. What's your plan B for work?
I know I can already do DoorDash when I leave here, but if not, I can get my job back at Burke Manufacturing. It's right down the street from here. It's, you basically make computer parts, but it's an assembly line kind of thing. I've worked there before in the past and they'd be more than happy to have me back. And they take people with records as well.
But you didn't get us a letter saying that they're gonna hire you.
I didn't know I needed one.
Well, we have nothing to go on other than your word if we don't have a letter confirming that they're intending to hire you back.
Well, I know, I understand. I didn't know. I don't think that anything with helping my dad would fall through, I should say.
Where do you plan to seek services for your mental health?
UCFS in London.
Have you ever heard of the expression 90 and 90?
No.
It's 90 meetings in 90 days. And that's how people often, you know, embrace their recovery and immerse themselves in the program of NA or AA with the goal of not necessarily one every day, but sometimes multiple meetings in a day.
Okay.
And it's a way to experience speaker meetings, step meetings, all women meetings, and, you know, in order to find a home base group that you're going to participate in.
Okay.
And it's a way to build that sober network that you were talking about.
Yes.
It's kind of curious because the way you described, if you have a job and you're out of the house and they want you to be out 8 to 2 because you're supposed to be an adult and you're
Right.
supposed to, like most people, work.
Yeah.
But you described it with reference to you only have to do 2 meetings a week. I would encourage you to consider immersing yourself in your recovery, making it your priority, and getting to as many meetings outside the house, the sober house, in the
Yes.
community, and at the house as you possibly can, instead of seeing it as a requirement that is somehow lessened because you've got a job.
No, I just meant, I was just telling you what they require you to do. Of course, I can do more, of course I will, but I'm just saying what
Well,
their requirements are.
it's not an of course unless we hear it from you.
Okay.
Okay, Mr. Sosowskis.
I don't have any questions. Thank you.
Great. Okay, so we're done with the questions. Please give us a few minutes. Don't interrupt.
So I appreciate Ms. Maxwell talking about the tier 4. I was a little bit concerned about her relapse prevention plan and did not seem to put a high priority on her sobriety. So, but I'm sure I appreciate you following through with the recommendation of the 90/90 meetings and explaining what it means. She did do what was asked of her. I know she explained, which was a little bit concerning, about going to her parents despite what her father told the parole officer during the interview. I don't know who Ms. Mashore was speaking with, but I hope she gets everything straightened out before she leaves the facility in terms of whether her father's insurance has actually approved to pay her, and that she takes the advice that was given to her about focusing on her sobriety and trying the 90/90 meetings. So I'm willing to grant, she has a flat sentence and she did express changes that she wants to make. So I'm willing to grant today.
So this would amount to about 5 months of parole supervision. I want to make this contingent that she does complete tier 4, so that would reduce this supervision to just over 4 months to get on her feet and hopefully access the services and support she needs going forward. Your thoughts?
I agree. Yeah.
Okay.
I would like to see her also to complete tier 4. There was an end date on this that was in November, but it looks like because of absences and other things, it's probably got extended a couple of weeks here.
Yeah.
Right.
So for conditions, I have mental health evaluation and treatment as deemed necessary, halfway house if needed. I'd like to see her do anger management. I think she needs to continue to build those skills.
Yeah.
And a no contact with the victim, JM, without PO's permission. Did you have anything else?
No.
No.
So in the matter of Jordan Matzdorf, inmate number 373829, there is a motion to grant parole on or after Today's date, November 15th, 2024, with the following conditions. The grant is contingent upon successful completion of the Tier 4 program. You're to engage in behavior management for anger management out in the community. You're to have a mental health evaluation and participate in treatment as deemed necessary. There'll be a halfway house placement if needed, and you're to have no contact with the victim, initials JM, without parole officer's permission. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Congratulations, Ms. Matsdorf.
You,
You need to consider your parole officer as a support, somebody that can provide you guidance and access to programs and services to help you. You're only going to have a little over 4 months of that support in the community. So keep your focus on your recovery and your mental health, and we wish you much success.
can I ask a question really quickly?
Who's here? Jordan Matsdorf in a 373829.
What's your question?
How long do I have the no contact order with the victim?
While you're under parole supervision, you are end of
Okay.
sentence in May.
Okay, so
and you
after
could-
that, it's no.
And you could,
To your parole officer.
Okay.
You know, and it's not a blanket, you can have contact with him. It's case by case, day by day basis.
I just wasn't sure if it was like a lifetime protection order or just
It's
while I'm
not a
DOC.
protective order, it's a condition of your parole supervision. Your parole ends in the beginning of
Oh.
May.
Okay,
A gentle way just to ease back into the situation without having any other problems, you know what I mean? Just go easy,
Okay.
that's all. Talk to your parole
Okay,
officer if you wanna.
okay.
Is he
Thank you very
living at
much.
your father's home? Is he living at your father's home?
No,
Okay, Ms. Mansbrook, you're all set. I'll send you this information probably by the end of next week.
okay, thank you.
Her brother is totally living at that house. How many lies was she caught in one parole hearing? You know what? There was nothing she could have done to not get paroled. They were going to parole her no matter what because they hate the idea of just letting her out on a flat sentence. But oh my God, I don't know. She could have gone in there and I mean, she could have done anything, right? Because she was caught in lie after lie after lie. I'm not sure if we have seen a bigger liar, a more professional liar than what we have just saw in this parole hearing. It was like they knew the facts. They when you think about it, they had the information and they let her go on and on and on and on and on. And finally, they're like, well, they spoke to your dad and he doesn't want anything to do with you. He hasn't spoken to you in like who knows how long. What is she going to do? She's just going to show up at his house. He's going to be like, what are you doing here? I bet you we see her back on a revocation or something. I don't even, can you even imagine? And then she goes in and she starts talking about, remember, she had like two things she needed to do. She needed to like finish this program and she needed to have like a plan. And her plan, she doesn't state, is to come out and do 90-90. She doesn't state that she's, but not only that, she does not know what 12 steps are, and she's claiming to go to NA inside of prison. We know she's lying. Everyone knows she's lying, and she goes on to say, like, you know, when you listen to her talk, she goes, and I'm sorry, I can't do that. Oh my God, I need to catch my breath. Oh. It's sad, really. I mean, we shouldn't think it, you know, can you even imagine? She actually goes on to say, well, what's so no, because she realizes she doesn't know. It's just there's no way she's been going. There's just no way. Or she's there, like her mind is who knows where. Like to not even know that there's something called 12 steps and to be like, well, no, because there's NA and NA. So because it's mixed together, they don't do 12 steps. If Mr. Marabella was here, he would have had an aneurysm, but he would have given it to her. You know, that's the difference between the Connecticut Parole Board and the Louisiana Parole Board, they would not have said, they would say, you just didn't earn it. We don't, you're no, or they're able to set conditions. And I think they would have done that. In Louisiana, you can set conditions of parole conditions on early term release conditions, things like that. But like, I don't know, they don't have that power here. So we'll probably see her again. You can tell when someone's done with their addiction. You can tell when someone's not. She's not going to succeed because she's not done yet. She's not tired yet. And hopefully she won't take something that's, she won't. A lot of times you see with these cases, the sad truth is you serve time in prison, and she's, had a 30-month sentence. She's been in there since 7/18/2023, at least prison time's counting. And you gain a certain immunity, right? A tolerance. You come back out, you go take your fetty of what your dose used to be. You don't have the tolerance and you die right there on the spot. And you see that happen all the time. Sir Richard actually just emailed me about 3 parole hearings where the people had died within days of their release. Let me see what this is. I've run across 3 offenders who died within a week of their hearing a month ago. I just got this email 2 hours ago. So, that's right on track. We can only guess why, right? Now, what can you do? What can you do? But, let's hope that she does well. Let's hope her cats are okay. Let's hope her brother and her get along. Let's hope dad doesn't, he's going to call the police the second he shows up. I mean, come on, where is she going to go? She just lied herself into screwing herself. She's stating that she has a plan. To go to her dad's house, but they're like, you lied. Your dad doesn't want. So what's she gonna do when she gets out? What's she gonna do? Where's she gonna go? Am I missing something? Like, what's gonna happen? This is not gonna go well. So make sure you hit the notification bell and I think it's time that we make a return of playlists on Connecticut, because we are starting to have them roll in. And with that, I'll let you go.
And during the tier 4, they don't discuss 12-step as part of.
No, ma'am, because we have like AA, NA, we have multiple groups that you can go to. So because you can't primarily go to one, I think that's why we don't do the 12 steps and that. I think you'd probably do that in the community if you went specifically to like AA or NA.
It's did they change up the contents of tier 4?
I'm sorry?
Did they change the contents of tier 4? I'm just surprised that you're not addressing the 12-step there.
I think in all of the tier 4 that I've done so far, I don't even think we've spoken on it. We have an AA, but that's another part of the program. Like that's after the classes.
Okay.